Hey, welcome. How you doing? My name is Ravi. Hope you and your family are safe and healthy. And in this video, we'll show you kind of what's involved in delivering a liquid-cooled generator to a site that is not exactly straightforward. There's a bunch of things involved. Obviously, you can see getting the unit into a truck requires some equipment, as that unit weighs about 1,500 pounds. Maybe a little bit less than that, but it's about 1,500 pounds, 1,200 pounds, something like that. I already have a piece of equipment in my other truck that we'll be taking as well. This truck driver was really nice. He was actually great. Helped us load, and not that we can't do it with the two of us. A lot of times I do it all by myself, but it's nice to have a couple extra sets of hands. But he was pretty cool, really nice guy. Yeah, so it was nice that it fit in that truck, no problem. Here we are at the site, and we're just rigging up our straps to get ready to offload it with our excavator. You know, that's a small little machine, but man, it does some great work. It's super powerful. Can't do a lot of the work we have done and will do without it. It just saves so much time and a lot of work. We used to deliver these all by hand before we had this machine, and that would require, you know, 3-4 guys, and a trailer and just a bunch of other equipment, and it would take a lot longer. This delivery to get it offloaded and to the location of where the generator is going took us about 20 minutes, maybe more than that, because we were being a little bit diligent. As you can see, there's plywood on the grass so that the machine would travel over the grass, because in the front yard over here it was a bit wet, so I didn't want to impact the grass and chew it all up. If you guys have ever seen any piece of equipment that has tracks, it will tear up the grass if it's wet, or even if it's not wet. I mean, it really will tear up any type of grass in landscaping. But if you're careful and you go slow, you can kind of preserve it, which you'll see later that we did do. But I was just trying to be a little extra careful with the front yard. So moving these sheets of plywood takes some time. You know, it adds at least 20 minutes, half an hour to the job. Fortunately, he had a double gate there, so I was able to get through without a problem. We've got to go probably 250 feet across the backyard, and you'll see here in a second. Once I make this turn, we don't really need the plywood anymore, so the pain of that is gone. Yeah, so here we're going across the backyard. There's a little divot there for the storm drain. Some view, huh? You always have to watch out for low-hanging limbs from trees and stuff.
I don't know, this up. It's just simple measurements.
So instead of getting bogged down with that screw up, we obviously had to get this one off anyway, so that's what we were doing here. That opening I'm coming through is 62 inches. My machine is 60 inches wide. Not much room for error, but we were able to do it just very, very carefully. And then there is little to no space to work with in here, but fortunately that excavator, you can spin the house. When I looked at this job, that fencing wasn't there, so I didn't really account for that. The way this machine is impacting the grass is not a big deal. It just flattens out a little bit, and then a couple days later it'll be fine. I'm walking it gently here because that generator was very heavy. It was, yeah, that was much heavier than the one we installed. And I make that turn very gently so I don't screw up the grass. That's kind of the way you do it. A lot of guys, they don't care. They'll just chew it up, rake it out, and then, you know, the grass grows back. Here, we're loading it up into the container because I'm leaving the machine on the site. And yeah, you see how the machine was tipping there. So now this is when I went back and we left some sheets of plywood there just in case. I was by myself this day, which isn't the end of the world, but just takes a little bit longer, that's all. I mean, Camerata does it. He does everything by himself, so why can't I? Well, there's obvious reasons why I can't do what he does, but you know what I mean. Not sure what I was talking about there. It was windy that day, that's why I am doing the voiceover, because it was very, very windy. And you always want to lift it even, obviously, so you're not stressing one side or the other. Sorry about all that moving around. And the center of gravity is not the center of the machine, so you kind of have to adjust your cables. Yeah, so you'll see here in a second, that blanket was a very bad idea. Right before we started recording, I thought to myself to move it.
Blanket's on fire.
Right?
The blanket.
Oh, the blanket. Oh, shoot.
Sorry.
Yeah, man, give it a...
My man's got couillons, man. Gas slapped right there. And I'm standing there.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea to stand there. The gas valve was closed, but you know, really wasn't a big deal. Obviously, I'm still alive. But I figured these guys are professionals. I told them what was there, and they just covered it with pieces of wood. All right, but this is pretty cool. I think welding is a pretty cool art, especially if you're good at it. This is galvanized steel that they're welding, and then they painted it with a galvanized coating afterwards to prevent rust. I mean, I don't know if you can see in the background there, but it's right on the water. This guy was so cool. He was so cool, so nice. It was fun to hang out with him. And I had just met him on this job. I mean, he didn't have to help me with this, and he had no problem helping me, and he's never done this before. I mean, this is not what they do. Probably would have had trouble doing this by myself. Eventually I would have gotten it done, but it took me a quarter of the time with the second set of eyes as it would have by myself. And we're just trying to center it as best as possible. So the unit is much wider than the older platform. And here it is. And this is the hook truck. The machine goes inside the container. That's just a regular 10-yard dumpster, as you would rent from anywhere. And We're just about at the weight limit of that truck, which I don't really like doing, but it is what it is, and well, it works, and I'm measuring here, and that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.